Welcome to ALHOUROUF channel. Here we take you on beautiful journeys with exciting and meaningful stories for children. Get ready for imagination, adventure, and fun! The Dream Tree and the Blue Lantern.
In a small village nestled between the mountains, there lived a little boy named Sami. Sami loved the stars very much. Every night, he would sit on the roof of his house, looking up at the sky and counting the stars one by one. One night, while the moon was hiding behind the clouds, Sami noticed something strange. There was a blue star shining brightly, and then suddenly, it fell from the sky like a tiny drop of light. Sami ran into the garden, his heart beating fast. In a soft voice, he said, "What is that? Did a star fall from the sky?" Among the flowers, Sami found a small blue lantern. It glowed gently, and from inside it, he heard a soft voice calling, "Sami, Sami." Sami opened his eyes wide in surprise and said, "Who is speaking?" Out of the lantern came a tiny bird made of light. Its wings sparkled like snow under the sun. The little bird said, "My name is Noor, the guardian of the blue lantern. I need your help." Sami took a small step back and said, "My help? But I'm only a child." Noor replied, "Sometimes a brave child is stronger than 1,000 frightened grown-ups." Sami felt a little scared, but he also felt something warm in his heart. He asked, "What happened?" Noor said, "High up on the mountain, there is an ancient tree called the wishing tree. Every night, this tree sends beautiful dreams to children. But 3 days ago, a dark shadow came and stole the heart of the tree. And now, the children have begun to sleep without dreams." Sami remembered his little sister, Layla. In the past few nights, she had woken up feeling sad and said, "I didn't have a beautiful dream." Sami tightened his little fist and said, "I will help you." The bird smiled and said, "Then we must go before sunrise." Sami picked up the blue lantern and quietly slipped out of the house. He followed the path leading up to the mountain. The wind was cold, and the trees swayed softly, as if they were whispering. After a little while, they reached a thick forest. Suddenly, Sami heard a voice from between the trees. "Go back, Sami. The road is dangerous." Sami stopped, and his knees began to tremble. Noor said, "Do not listen. That is the voice of fear. It is trying to stop you." Sami took a deep breath and said, "I am afraid, but I will not turn back." As soon as he said that, the lantern shone brightly, and a small path opened between the trees. Sami and Noor kept walking until they came to a wide river. The water was rushing quickly, and there was no bridge. Sami asked, "How will we cross?" An old turtle appeared on the riverbank. In a slow, gentle voice, she said, "No one may cross this river unless they know the answer." Sami asked, "The answer to what?" The turtle said, "What grows bigger the more you give it to others?" Sami thought for a long time, then said, "Food? Money?" The turtle gently shook her head. Sami looked at the lantern, and then he remembered his mother saying to him, "Kindness never becomes less when you give it away." Sami said softly, "Is it love?" The turtle smiled and said, "Well done." Suddenly, glowing stones appeared on the water, one after another. Sami carefully stepped from one to the next until he crossed the river. The closer they came to the top of the mountain, the heavier the air became, and the darker the sky grew. And when they reached the top, Sami saw the ancient tree. It was enormous, but its leaves were wilted, and its branches looked sad. In the center of the tree was a dark, empty space, as if its heart was missing. With sadness in his voice, Noor said, "This is all that remains of the wishing tree." Suddenly, a dark shadow appeared behind the tree. It was tall, and its eyes glowed like little red coals. The shadow said, "Who dares to come here?" Sami quickly hid behind a rock. The shadow laughed and said, "You are only a little child. Go back home. You cannot save anyone." Sami felt the words touch his heart like tiny thorns. He wanted to run away. He wanted to go back to his warm bed. But then he remembered Layla. He remembered the children who had lost their dreams. And he remembered Noor's words. A brave child is stronger than 1,000 frightened grown-ups. Sami stepped out from behind the rock and said in a trembling voice, "Give back the heart of the tree." The shadow laughed. "And what will you do if I don't?" Sami lifted the blue lantern, but he did not know what to do. He waited for lightning or fire to burst from it, but nothing happened. Noor said, "The lantern does not work with force, Sami. It works with truth." Sami asked, "What truth?" Noor replied, "Speak the truth that is in your heart." Sami looked at the shadow and said, "I am afraid. Yes, I am very afraid. But I will not let fear choose for me. I will not run away." The lantern began to glow. Sami continued, "Dreams are important because they make children smile, and they fill their hearts with hope. And you cannot take hope away forever." The shadow shouted, "Be quiet!" But Sami's voice grew stronger. "You may be big and frightening, but you are only darkness, and darkness disappears when the light comes." At that moment, the lantern burst into a beautiful blue light, and its glow spread everywhere. The shadow tried to escape, but the light surrounded it. The shadow cried out, "No! No!" Then it turned into a little cloud of smoke and disappeared into the wind. From between the roots of the tree, a small golden heart appeared, beating softly. Noor lifted it gently with his wings and placed it back in the center of the tree. At once, life returned to the branches. Fresh green leaves began to grow, silver flowers bloomed, and thousands of glowing bubbles floated up from the tree. Each bubble carried a beautiful dream for a child far away. Noor said, "You have saved the dreams, Sami." Sami smiled, but he felt very tired. He asked, "Will Layla's dreams come back too?" Noor replied, "Yes, and tonight she will dream of a garden filled with stars." Before sunrise, Sami returned home. He quietly entered his room, placed the blue lantern near the window, and then fell asleep. In the morning, Layla ran into his room, laughing happily. She said, "Sami, Sami, I had a beautiful dream. I was flying among the stars, and there was a bird made of light." Sami smiled and looked toward the window. The lantern was no longer there, but on his pillow, he found a tiny blue feather shining softly. And from that day on, Sami never forgot that courage does not mean never being afraid. Courage means doing the right thing, even when you are afraid. I hope you enjoyed the story. Good night and sweet dreams. See you again in a new story with ALHOUROUF English Channel.